This video describes how to send email messages from a Sitecore form. Before getting started, you should have already set up your form and know where to find it. You should also be familiar with saving and publishing items. As a note, I'm using Sitecore version 8.1. You may notice slight differences if you are using a newer or older version. Let's get started. Locate your form in Sitecore's content tree and click on it. The Form tab will appear in the ribbon. That's the dark gray section up here at the top of the page. Click on the Save Actions button. The Save Actions window will appear. The name Save Actions refers to the action that Sitecore will take when somebody saves or submits a form. Open up the Save Actions drop-down menu. You'll see a few options. Click on Send Email Message and then click on Add. You've just told Sitecore that you want your form to be able to send email messages whenever somebody fills it out. Now, you need to tell Sitecore exactly what to send and where to send it. Make sure Send Email Message is still highlighted, and then click Edit. You are now editing the email that Sitecore will send when somebody completes the form. In the To line, enter one or more email addresses, each one separated by a comma. If you've collected an email address in your form, you can add that to the email address list by clicking on the arrow next to the To field and selecting the email address option. Notice the brackets that appear. This means Sitecore will automatically populate this with information submitted in the form. Additionally, you have an option to copy and blind carbon copy email addresses. You can change the From address if you like, although it's not recommended. You can also customize the subject line. Now, let's look at the email body. This is where things get interesting. If you've used Sitecore for a while, you may notice that the editor looks familiar. You can add text and format it in a variety of ways. There's something extra here though, and that's the ability to add form fields to the email. Open the Insert Field drop-down and you'll see all the fields you've added to your form. This feature allows you to set up an email with the information you've collected, as well as add additional formatting and text. You'll need to add the form fields one by one. Sitecore does not automatically add form fields for you. Again, you'll need to add them one by one. Let's look at an example of an email that just includes the information I've collected with my form. I've added the name, email address, and comments fields to the email. Here's what I receive in my inbox when somebody fills out the form. It's not terrible, but it would be easier to read if I tell Sitecore to display a bit more information and spacing around each field. Let's go back to the editor. This time, I'm going to make it more obvious that I'm collecting a name, email address, and comments by adding text. I'll also add a line break after each field. Here's the resulting email. It's much easier to read, isn't it? Being able to add this extra text and format it is a great feature. Once you're satisfied with your email setup, hit OK. Then, save and publish your form. Before moving on, I'd like to share two other potential time savers that might come in handy. One, you can change the subject line to include particular pieces of information submitted with the form. So, for example, let's say you asked the student to select an area of study. If you wanted, you could add that information to the subject line, which might help you route emails when they come to your inbox or sort through them more easily. You can also add multiple email save actions if you like. For example, you could tell Sitecore to send one email to an administrative assistant and another one that's set up slightly differently to the person who filled out the form. After you've set up the first email, simply repeat the process and add another Send Email Message action.